Welcome back to another edition of the Bob Dillard pregame show. I'm Tommy Bryan, your host, and our guest, as always, head coach of the Blue Devils, Bob Dillard. Coach, last week, tremendous offensive effort, 33-14, the win over Coffee County. We ran the ball as well as we've run it.
Well, we challenged our offensive line Monday in practice, and we told them that we felt like if we were going to be successful, we had to be able to run the football, and we worked hard on it all week, and our guys responded the way we expected them to. They came out, did a good job blocking, our backs ran hard, and we were able to move the football on the ground.
The availability that you guys have had to put Joel Griffin and Chris Stafford in the backfield at the same time, a deadly 1-2 punch for your offense.
Well, that's true. You know, the other side of that coin is put one of them in there and alternate them every series. But the way we look at it, if you've got both those young men on the field, then there's two guys that can hurt a defense at the fullback position and at the tailback position. And we feel like they're both the kind of football players that when we've got the ball, we want them both on the field instead of one of them standing over there with us. So we moved Joel to fullback, and he does a good job there for us, and he plays some tailback also when Stafford gets a little winded. So we expect some big things out of those two guys.
Stafford ran the ball hard, almost 100 yards. Griffin broke a couple of big plays, wound up with 200 yards plus. Just tremendous effort by both those guys.
Right. You know, it's been a long time, I think, since a Lebanon back had rushed for over 200 yards. But, you know, we would have had, I think Stafford would have went over 200 if we hadn't have had the bad pitch and he fell on the pitch on the option. I think that cost him 8 or 10 yards in his stats. But, you know, anytime an offensive line blocks and we're able to run the football for over 300 yards rushing, they've done a pretty good job.
I thought your guys were very ready to play against Manchester, Coffee County.
We've been, I think we've been mentally ready to play both weeks against Father Ryan and against Manchester. And, you know, our young men have worked so hard from all the way back to November of last year. And we try to sell our young men on the fact that, you know, hey, we've worked for 7-8 months now, and all we're guaranteed is 10 times to go out and play. And it just doesn't make any sense to go out and not be ready to play because of all the work and the time and effort that we've got invested. And we feel like that both nights out that we've been ready to play.
With us this afternoon on our pregame show, one of our assistant coaches, Jamie Angel, joins us. Jamie, first year on the staff last year. First off, Jamie, welcome to the show, and we'll make this as painless as possible. Jamie, you've had a good career as a player. Played collegiately at Cumberland and played did a great job at Gordonsville under several different head coaches. Tell the folks a little bit about your responsibilities at Lebanon High School on the coaching staff.
Well, I'm the offensive backfield coach, and then I help Coach Grissom in the secondary on defense. And mainly during the week I'm coaching the running backs, and then when we go defensively, I usually am the quarterback of the scout team offense and try to give the defense a true look at what they're going to see for the upcoming game that week.
So really, you're learning a new offense just about every week. What can we expect out of Springfield this week offensively?
Well, they run the wing tee offense. They've got a lot of speed. They're going to try to get on the corner on us, and they've got a good passing game. And like I say, they got a lot of good athletes, and we got to be ready to play Friday night.
For a school that is just barely over the line, being a 4A school, they've got some awful big kids.
They sure do. You know, just moving up to 4A this year, you may think, you know, their numbers would be smaller or the athletic talent wouldn't be there, but watching them on film, we know that's not true at all. They've got just a stable of athletes in the backfield and up front.
Jamie, thanks for being with us. Going back to Bob Dillard, our head coach. Bob, Jamie talked about the wing tee and some of those athletes at Springfield can put out there at you. Randy Thomas, head coach of Springfield, it wasn't that long ago that this program won a state championship.
Well, that's right. They have a lot of tradition at Springfield, and you know, right now they're 0-2 after the first 2 weeks of the season, so they're not. That's not going to sit well with the Springfield folks, and they're going to come in Friday night looking to get a bad taste out of their mouth, and they're definitely going to be ready to play, and we've got to be ready, and it should be a hard-fought physical football game.
An even defensive front, a 4-4 look out of Springfield. Is this comparable to that six-man front that Father Ryan ran the first week of the season?
It's similar in some ways. Father Ryan had their guards or defensive tackles, whatever you want to call them, lined up a little more inside than what Springfield does. They're more of a what people call a 4-4 or a split look with their guards outside and their linebackers sitting inside. So it's similar in a lot of ways, but yet it's different in some ways as well.
Are there plays that you feel like that we can run against Springfield's defense that'll be successful?
Well, hopefully we can run the sweep. We run the sweep a whole lot. The sweep's the best play for us, I think, and I think we've got to be able to run that play if we're going to be able to move the football. Hopefully with their two linebackers inside and their guards outside, that we'll be able to run between the tackles a little better than what we have in the past. We're going to try to trap some in there with our fullback and run the isolation play in the middle with our tailback. So we're looking at several different things there.
With Stafford on the shelf this game with the bad thumb, the broken thumb, that moves Brian Reeves into the backfield as the fullback, and he's a kid who played well last week against Coffee County.
Right. Brian did a good job. He came in against Coffee County and played several snaps at fullback, had 3 or 4 carries, but he's primarily a blocker, and he knows that, and he does a good job blocking from the fullback position. We're going to move Griffin from fullback to tailback, and that'll give Brian Reeves, the sophomore, the start at fullback for us.
All right. Folks, stay tuned for the renewal of one of the great rivalries in Middle Tennessee football, Lebanon and Springfield, and you'll be seeing it right here on Lebanon Cablevision 3. Stay tuned for more after this timeout.
The Bob Dillard pregame show has been brought to you by Chum's Convenience Stores with 4 locations to serve you better. By Lebanon Heating and Air Conditioning. By Greg Brothers Car Wash, now with 2 locations in Lebanon. And by TRW, Commercial Steering Division. Video in association with Lebanon Cablevision proudly presents Lebanon Blue Devil Football. Your play-by-play host, Clyde Harville. With color commentary by Tommy Bryant. With the game stats, Terry Stafford. And the sideline reporter for the game, John Ryan.
Hello, I'm Allie Lanning at Noakes Laster Field, the game against Lebanon versus Springfield. We're here with both squads.
Hi, I'm Laura Pack, captain of the Lebanon Varsity Football Cheerleaders.
Hi, I'm Sarah Ann Corbin, captain of the Springfield Varsity Cheerleaders.
Sarah's going to tell us a little bit about Springfield.
We've moved up this year from 3A to 4A, and we're in a new division, and we've come off to a rocky start this year, but we're hoping to turn things around.
Both squads are going to swap lineups. We'll be back in just a moment for the kickoff.
Now down to the field to John Bryan for the toss of the coin.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Tommy. Down here at midfield for the toss of the coin, we have referee Harold King, umpire Butch Campbell, line judge Joe Gill, the head linesman Bart Fight, the back judge will be Jim Ward, and the electronic clock operator will be Mr. Bill Wynn. Now here for the toss of the coin and the instructions, the referee Harold King.
If you have any problems, you're the captains, you're the spokesmen out here, you bring it to our attention. Okay, I'm going to flip the coin here. I want you to look at it. I got a tails here. A head on this side. Now you're going to call the toss. I'm going to flip it in the air. If I so happen to drop it, we'll retoss it. But I want you to call it out clearly while it's in the air. Here we go. Tails is called. Tails it in. Defer. You want to defer? Yes, sir. Okay. White has won the toss. And we'll defer.
Springfield has won the toss, Tommy, and has elected to defer. Lebanon's choice is next.
You want to receive.
The Blue Devils will receive. And Springfield will kick toward the clocks. That means they will defend the north end zone. So up to you.
Thanks, John. We'll be back with kickoff after this 2-minute timeout. for Springfield will be Clint Collins. Collins, a soccer-style kicker. Springfield will operate out of the north end zone, protecting the north end zone. Springfield dressed very much like UCLA. Gold pants, gold helmets, white jerseys, black and gold trim. Lebanon dressed in the blue home uniforms, blue jerseys, white trim, white pants, and white headgear. Bob Dillard, the head coach for the Blue Devils. And across the way, Randy Thomas, the head coach for the Springfield Yellow Jackets. Deep to return for the Blue Devils is Joel Griffin. And here with the play-by-play call of tonight's game, Clyde Harville, the sports director of FM 99.
Okay, thank you, Tommy. Lebanon ready to rumble here on a Friday night. Springfield and the Blue Devils. Back deep for Lebanon is Joel Griffin. The short men are Titus Kelly and Ron C. And the kick is in the air, and it's long and deep, and it's going to go to Ron C. at the 14, to the 15, out to the 20. C with a little room will punch it over the 25 to the 26-yard line and be jammed up by the Jackets at that point.
Offensively in the middle for Lebanon, Cripps, Hicks, Bain, Nelson, and Alls. That's your offensive front. They did a great job last week opening up holes, 348 yards on the ground for those Blue Devil backs. Your fullback is Reeves. Griffin is your tailback. Pitt, the quarterback.
Boy, did that offensive line work well, as you said last week. Double wideouts for the Blue Devils. Pitt is underneath the center. Griffin is running at tailback, and the pitch will go to Griffin. Got a hold. Griffin outside. Hit at the 30, dropped at the 31, maybe the 31.5-yard line. A gain of about 5 by Joel Griffin, who showed a little quickness along with that speed. And had he got by that one man, he would have set sail down the sideline.
No question about it. The only guy left to make the tackle made the tackle. Deshaun Moorhead, the free safety, came up and made the stop. If he doesn't make that play, it's a big one for Joel Griffin.
Second down, 4.5 for the Blue Devils at their own 32. That's where they'll put the ball. Pitt calls the signals. Again, same formation. Handoff through the middle to Reeves, the fullback, and he squirts out over the 35 all the way to the 39-yard and at 39-yard line, and it's a 1st and 10 for the Blue Devils.
Good job. Lebanon coming up in the what they call a rip set. They move the fullback over about 2 steps to the right. He's lined up behind the tackle almost instead of being right behind the center. They gave it back to Reeves coming against the grain on the trap play. Nice block by Kenneth Nelson.
A lot going to fall on the shoulders of Brian Reeves tonight. The 180-pound sophomore looked good on his first carry. Tressler is left. C is right, and the handoff to Griffin. Sweep to the left side. Shakes a tackle. 40, 45, and dropped at that point. A gain of about 6 solid ones by Griffin again on a sweep to the left side.
Bob Dillard mentioned the sweeps would be good to Lebanon tonight if they continue to get the good blocking. That 4-4 defense tends to pile a lot of people up in the middle. When Lebanon attacks in the middle, look for them to use the traps, the quick hitters, and to run wide with the sweep play.
Well, 2 of the 3 plays have already been to the outside. Tressler and C both coming now to the near side of the field, which is the wide side. Blue Devils moving from your right to left, from your left to right as you listen in, and Pitt down the line on an option. Pitch back to Griffin. Got a lot of clear sailing. 45-50. Shakes a man. 45, 40. Griffin, wow, did he get hit down at about the 36 and dumped all the way back to the 39, but a great run by Griffin, and the Blue Devils are in Springfield territory inside the 40 at the 37-yard line.
Terry Stafford, good-looking run from scrimmage for the senior Joel Griffin.
Joel Griffin all the way down to the 37 at Springfield. That play started at Lebanon's 45. He picks up 18 yards and a 1st down for Lebanon.
That was a freshman who put that shot on Joel Griffin. Tremaine Turner, just a freshman. He didn't hit like any 9th grader.
Boy, he really didn't. He really socked it to Griffin down there at about the 36. Dumped him all the way back. Lebanon ready. Inside trap to Reeves, and Reeves has got 5-6 yards over the 35, inside the 32, down to the 30-yard line goes the fullback Brian Reeves, and this sophomore is looking good, Tommy.
Well, we have put in some plays designed for the fullback out of this Rip and Liz set, this over set they're using, moving the fullback from one side to the other. The trap play, an excellent play out of this against that 4-4 defense. You've got your 2 tackles inside, your 2 linebackers inside. They're right there to be blocked, and all we got to do is reach them.
Blue Devils with a second and a little less than 3 at the Springfield 30 as they have taken